everybody and welcome back to the Gamer Muscle YouTube channel. Now, as someone that has wasted far too much of their life playing driving simulators, literally 20 plus years of driving around in circles, and as someone that's had the opportunity to drive some really awesome real world fast cars, I thought it'd be interesting to look at the new Forza Motorsport official gameplay demo announcement video and talk about it from my perspective as someone that's a complete moron but unfortunately very experienced with realistic driving simulator video games. Before that, as a reminder, if you watch our live streams, you'll know I have a Fanatec steering wheel on my sim rig and I've been using a Fanatec podium for ages now. Awesome piece of equipment. If you want to use Fanatec, check out our affiliate link in the description to support the channel. Now, before I engage maximum pessimism and cynicism, which I think are two great qualities to have before a title comes out, don't put coal in your hype train, wait until the titles come out. But before I engage them, I am actually mildly optimistic for this title, and I will say I am quite a fan of the Forza titles, the track titles, not the last couple, but Forza 3, Forza 2, I think they absolutely nailed what they were meant to do. Great with the gamepad. I love that kind of semi-Top Gear aspect to them, but I think Forza kind of dropped off the hill, fell off the cliff on the track side. The previous two Forza Horizons, great though, really good gameplay, love how they play with the gamepad, quite enjoyed how they play with the wheel. They did what I expected from them, great enjoyment. So before I go too like hardcore analysis on this, and I'm coming at this from the perspective of someone that's rotted their brain with too many driving sims, so keep that in mind, those of you that are on the console that think I'm some mental overcritical person. That's just what happens when you do a lot of sim racing, it breaks your brain. Keep those points in mind. So let's go to the start of this video. They've done an announcement. They did an announcement video which showed some external footage where you couldn't really see much other than the graphics. And I mean, okay, let's be shallow. Let's first of all talk about the graphics. It does look phenomenal. I mean, this looks awesome. Like that water shader, the water going through the river. That's where waters typically go. The trees with the different types of trees and the grass. It looks like they've really focused on the most important parts of a racing simulator or a racing game here. Grass and trees. So already I'm actually verging on an IGN 10 out of 10 for this title, just from this view. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Look at those leaves as well coming off the tree there. And a hot air balloon. You have to have hot air balloons in modern racing titles. I don't know why, but you do. So, first analysis point after the grass and trees. Interestingly, that external view of the car here, if you listen to it, it looks like they've actually done a bit more work on the engine sounds. Now, historically, Forza games have historically sounded alright from external views, but the internal views have always been a bit lackluster. Now, it seems like, I wouldn't say from the audio of this car, it does seem like it's a little bit bland. Not too much range to it. I mean, this car's sort of just going full pelt down this hillside. It's hard to draw too many conclusions. But, you know, it doesn't sound awful. It sounds like it could be passable from the external view. You can also hear some that sort of tree whooshy sound effect. So for like objects going past, that kind of Need for Speed sound effect of things passing your vehicle, which is a little bit arcadey, a little bit added on, but can be a good immersive quality. It depends. If it's just for the external camera, then that's fine. But if you start hearing that whilst you're driving in an onboard view, it's a little bit distracting when you know really trying to focus on driving. In a real car, if you're going past some close walls, obviously there'll be like reverb off those walls, and you do hear like that whooshy sound a little bit. I mean, I guess that's where it was invented from originally. But you know, these types of games tend to overdo it because they're trying to like really get you going with that raw sort of excitement and hyper-realism, sort of Michael Bay realism. Again, we're saying, look at the grass, nice grass, look at the trees. Let's continue. Interestingly there, car hit the curb, see some sparks. I think that particle effect for the sparks looks a little bit, I've noticed on the other clips of it, the particle effect from the curbs looked a little bit generic and, you know, a little bit overdone. Middle of the day, we've got firework display coming off the back of the vehicle. But again, I don't really care about that. I think that's fine. You can sometimes get sparks in daytime off vehicles. Especially if it's in the shade or something, or who cares? If it looks nice, it looks nice. I think it looks all right. It's the external camera. It'd be interesting to see what it looks like from an internal view. If you're playing games from a more sort of sim perspective, you're probably going to be using the onboard camera, which they don't really show in this. But if you're playing from this chase view, which a lot of people using a gamepad will do, you know, then you get to see all those sparks and things. Let's keep going. Oh, here we go. So the first point that the developers make... Okay, guys, fasten your seatbelts. Get ready for... This kind of thing actually unsells the game to me. These kind of comments. Let's play this.
This includes a 48 times improvement in the fidelity of our physics simulation.
Right. A 48 times improvement in our physics simulation.
48 times improvement in the fidelity of our physics simulation.
A 48 times improvement in the fidelity of our physics simulation. Now, the problem with saying something like that is it's absolutely meaningless. There's no context to that. What does he mean? Like the frequency of some update rate of the physics engine is 48 times faster, which could be meaningless. It could mean anything. It could literally mean anything. I mean, you could have a physics engine that was 48 times more advanced, but the data you put into it is terrible. So the actual end result doesn't make any sense, and you effectively end up with Wipeout. You know, it's utterly meaningless. The only point of them saying that is they've probably picked something that's 48 times better. I don't know, there's more memory on the new console, so it probably literally is like a frequency increase, or I don't know, we've got 48 contact points, whatever. They've just picked some arbitrary thing out that they marketing people at Microsoft, the studio here, have gone, that sounds impressive. An average person with no brain cells will listen to that and go, wow, 48 times better, that's 48 times more better than the previous 1 times that it was before. Mind you, let's casually gloss over the fact that the previous Forza game, and every single Forza game, we always say it's got the best, most realisticist, advantistist physics. But this one's 48 times better, so it's way better than the previous one. Give it like 5 years' time, and I'm telling you, the next Forza Motorsport 2, even though it's probably like 8, or I don't know where we are now, we just got to reboot everything. The next one will be 80 times more advanced, betterer. You know what I mean? That type of comment, it just makes me mildly depressed when I see that in their promotional thing. It's like, the fact they're saying that without context means that they think you're an idiot. And to be honest, most people are, so they're probably right. Let's continue. Right, I have to be careful with the music. Alright, look at the details, he says. And actually, let's look at the details. I will say that road texture is phenomenal. And also, of particular note, is how look at how the light is sort of being picked up by, I guess it's like normal maps, and they say it's using photogrammetry as well, which if you don't know, you take loads of photographs of objects at different angles and then you can build a 3D model from that and then use that texture data and you end up with something really photoreal. It's kind of like the new thing, although it's not actually that new. Photogrammetry's existed for decades, but in real-time games and to this fidelity, this looks fantastic. The little cracks on the road surface look great, really nice attention to detail. These little markings here of like paint and stuff being picked up by the light, and obviously a different time of day will cause these markings to change as they pick up lighting differently, and that will make the track surface feel different. Also, it will affect these sort of markings give you nice little break points. If it comes to like if you're approaching like a simulator or you're actually trying to be quick in these types of games, these little markings on the track are great for going, oh, that's a reference point in this type of lighting. I might not be able to see my other reference point because it's night time, or daytime at certain thing, or the weather's different, or it's wet. All these things pick up different details, and if you're driving on a real circuit, you notice there's lots of little details, high-resolution details that you can latch onto to some extent. Maybe not to the extent of these tiny little cracks, but you know what I mean. There's lots of detail in reality, and it's nice to start to see that in a racing game, or potentially a racing simulator. But also, it just adds a lot to the immersion as well. The fact that it looks more real, more fidelity there. And a good thing to mention is the more of these sort of like track details and textures and bits of paint and what have you on the road surface, they really add to the sense of speed, because whatever is closest to the car is what is going to be the thing that you notice that's going to go past the car the fastest, because it's closer to you. It's like if you drive a go-kart in real life, you're going at like 70 miles an hour maximum. It'll feel like you're driving it feel like you're going full 110 miles an hour, equivalent in a road car. Well, it depends. I mean, if you're in a 1980s road car, you get to 80 miles an hour, the windows start falling off, and that makes it feel really fast. But you know what I mean? If you're in a go-kart, it feels super fast because you're close to the ground, so you can see all these little details whizzing past. This is it's a bit like that. It's a bit analogous to that. Having all those details, you've got stuff whizzing past the car, gives you a good sense of speed without having to do like crazy field of view, like the whole wide field of view, to make it feel like stuff's whizzing past you, because you can actually see small details whizzing past you. So I'm really looking forward to that and the sense of speed for that. If you're using a chase cam though, that's not necessarily going to be too important, but it's if you're in a cockpit, which they didn't show for this, which is weird if they're trying to make out that it's realistic. If you're in a cockpit, those kind of details really help. Brake points, sense of speed, sense of belonging into a real environment. My God, this Game of Muscle guy talks too much. Right, here we go. This is a good thing to mention.
Three material scans.
First of all, look at those traffic cones. This part of the video is sponsored by Emily Jones. Go and follow her on Twitch if you haven't. Emily Jones will be super fast in this. She's insane, really talented GT Sport. Well, really talented sim racer. There we go. Little advert for Emily Jones there. Emily Jones can comment thanking me. There you go. Traffic cones, Emily Jones. And most importantly, look at that grass. We have at least 4 types of grass there. We've got, I can't name them because I pretend to be a fan of grass, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about with sims and games, but people haven't noticed. Well, some people have, but not everyone. But look at the grass. Look at that depth of field as well. This is all in-game, rendered in the game. So we'll talk about the camera stuff in a second, but look at that grass around those cones. Oh, absolutely. As I say, 10 out of 10. I think the grass has sold me on this game. Forget driving in cars. The grass in this is probably some of the best grass I've seen. Codemasters do good grass, but this might be... Actually, I think it has beaten Codemasters grass. 10 out of 10 IGN review. Nice little detail with the traffic cone with some weeds coming through and a different type of weed growing through the tyre. I hope they did their research and made sure that that's the appropriate type of weed to come through a tyre that's been left on the road on the verge there. Keep going. Also, nice noticing that some of the traffic cones are like deformed, and you've got the paint. Like this attention to detail in the texture work. They probably outsourced these assets to some poor guy or girl. This, you know, they got they'll have. We've got the contract, guys, to work on the new Forza. Oh, Whippy, I'm so excited. What are you working on? Well, we need you to make 40,000 different types of traffic code. Well, at least you get your name in the credits. No, you don't, because it was outsourced. Okay, modern games industry. But, you know, credit where credit's due. Whoever did these traffic cones, well done. I appreciated it. I noticed it. And I think you should be in the credits as the premier traffic cone modeler. Let's continue. Advanced rendering. So, here's another point we're saying. So they go, advanced rendering techniques brings realism to the track. Well, yeah, visual realism, which is great, but the most important part of a racing game, if you're talking about a sim, not necessarily for an arcade game, but it looks like they are kind of trying to make out this is realistic, is how the cars actually drive and handle. This is an initial video. I'm giving them some time here. I'm sure that maybe they'll follow up with some more physics stuff. They'll probably do some slow-mos with tyre deformation. People love that. Bit of it could be terrible driving physics, but if there's a slow-motion shot of tyres deforming or deflating or whatever, that will sell people on it being a realistic simulator, even if it drives terrible. So hopefully they do that. That's one to tick off. Also, they need to get a real race driver, maybe some pro in some series, a GT3 driver, or they could even pay for a Formula 1 driver to say, this was amazing. That would be even better in terms of them getting credibility as a simulator. So I've given them ideas. I should be charging them for these consultation fees. Again, nice grass in the distance. Let's keep focused on the grass here. You can see that the grass is actually rendered. I don't know in this video. I don't know how clear it is into the distance, but look, right, that's at least 100, 200, 300 metres. That's at least 500 metres, and we've still got grass and the nice Maple Valley shed and some wind, because environmental friendly. We've got some wind farm on the hill there, because nothing's more environmentally friendly than driving cars around a track and having thousands of spectators drive around the world to watch motorsport and then flying the teams everywhere. We've got wind farms though, focus on that, and we've got some nice birds that are enjoying the noise pollution from the racetrack. They've probably been scared off the racetrack and pushed away from their habitat. But it doesn't matter, because we're racing, and let's be honest, racing is fun, and birds are a little bit boring until you get really old, and then they become interesting again. But those of you that were born in the last 20, 30 years, don't worry about that, because we're all going to die before we get old. So enjoy the birds flying away from the noise pollution, is what I'm saying. Let's keep going. Hang on, too much cynicism, too much pessimism, too much despair. Tone it down, Game of Muscle. Nice shot here of the camera. Look at that camera movement. All in real time, they said. That's great. Look at those trees. More focus on the trees. I really do appreciate the focus in this on the foliage. I really do appreciate that. It's the first thing that you want to show off in a racing game is foliage. Oh, and here we go. This is another point worth bringing attention to. Now, they, in this video, talk about day, night, and the light and all that stuff. But more importantly, you can tell this is a cross-platform racing title because we have the obligatory fairground in the middle of the circuit. Now, racetracks, if you go to a real racetrack when there's a big race on, especially big ones like 24 Hours of the Nürburgring or Le Mans, which just happened recently, they do actually have attractions going on for people to do, because if you go to a real-world racetrack, you can't normally actually see the track. It's kind of ironic. You think, I go to the racetrack, I'll enjoy watching the race, but it's better to sim race to actually feel what it's like somewhat to drive. I mean, better to drive a real car, but you have to be too rich to do that. Better to sim race, or it's better to watch races on TV, or ideally one of those things where you can, pay for premium service so you can watch the onboards, because that's the best way to get closest to the actual sport and action of driving. That's a whole nother thing. We're not allowed to actually look at the sport of driving properly. You have to look at it from some distorted view. Anyway, so if you go to a track, you can't see the race, unless it's Brands Hatch. You can, good track to watch racing. Interlagos, great track for watching racing. Oval racing, great. But at most racetracks, this track, for example, if it was real, it's not, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So you go to the fairground with overpriced attractions after already paying an overpriced ticket fee. But this is a proper cross-platform next-gen game. So it's got this fairground in the middle, which is quite nice when you're driving. It does make it feel like there's people watching you, even though they're not. You're not that important. Nobody cares about you. You might have you might be an idiot influencer or social media type person. Nobody cares. Nobody actually cares about you. It's all fake numbers on the internet. But you could pretend they do. So they put this in for millennials and generation whatever and whoever. I've ostracised my viewership with this video. I'm ostracising myself. They've put this in here so you know that there's people watching you, and I actually do think that can be quite nice, having fake avatars watching. It does make it feel a bit more lively. I actually quite like that with the Forza Horizon games. So fair dues, and it's nice when you drive past it. You get the sound of the events and stuff, which does make the environment a bit more immersive. Look at those shadows, really nice soft shadows. That's worth pointing out. So this is one of the really nice things with modern graphics engines. In the past, if you had the sun setting like it is here, you end up with the sun at a really oblique angle to the surface, so it causes really stretched out shadows. So with previous rendering methods of doing shadows, that would mean you would end up with the sort of resolution, you'd be stretching this like a shadow map, and you'd end up with like a really you'd notice that it's a map that's stretched, so you end up with these weird jaggy edges on the shadows and not soft shadows. I'm using the wrong terms here. I'm not a graphical programmer. Look into graphical programming and how real-time shadows are rendered. Learn about it. Don't learn from me. But the point is, look at these soft shadows. Look how nice it looks. That's the point. Even though the sun is setting, and look how the shadows are going onto these trees and the grass. Again, focus on the grass, and look at this little... for some reason, there's a little hay bale thing there. I don't know why. That could be a special vehicle you can drive later in the game. No, that'd probably be too fun. You can't tow that around the track. That'd be too fun. We're going to stick to boring cars. But, you know, shadows. Absolutely fantastic soft shadows. I really like this about new graphic engines. Unreal 5, and it looks like this, and... Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, like all the really new stuff that's come out can do these really nice soft shadows. Worth pointing out, they look great. I think that is a next gen thing. And also look at that lighting change there, the sky changing colour. Look at these. Hang on, can I see any constellations here? Do I recognise this? Is that? No. Where are we? I would imagine they probably use a real sky here, something that's been done in games for decades. And I'm surprised actually. You can put a real sky with a star map, use a real star map in a ball around the environment. That's actually in front of the camera, but it's rendered later. Depends how they do things. But you can do the sky thing, and it's something you could put in marketing. You could go, Sim's so realistic. If you set the time of day to the right time of day, the stars will be there, and then you get some astrophysicist to comment on it, and they go, yes, it is correct, because they'll tweet it. Free advertising, free view, really impresses people, but it's something that games have literally done for 20 plus years. So I'm surprised I missed out on that opportunity there. Maybe in another video. That's another one. That's another free marketing tip for you, Microsoft. I'm on fire. I'm expecting a fee for this. Right.
Dynamics to the racing experience.
Dynamics to the racing experience. Yes, day, night, dynamics to the racing experience. Music. Right, there we go. Fireworks. Okay, again, obligatory fireworks. Because why not? It's night time. We've got a roller coaster. That's great. It does look nice. At the end of the race, it's nice to have fireworks. It makes it feel a bit finished, though. If you have fireworks every single race end, it kind of just makes it a bit like, it kind of takes away the enjoyment of fireworks if it's like every single day. You know, if we had like, what do you do in America? I'm assuming a lot of people watching this are Americans. What is it? What's that day? I can't remember that day. They celebrate it for something happened in America. Oh, I don't know what happened. So I don't know. They threw tea. Anyway, there was some like day that they celebrate with fireworks. We don't really talk about it over here too much. But if you have that every day, it's just noise pollution and light pollution. You know, annoying. So it's a bit overdone, isn't it, in these types of games? But if it's just at the end of big races, that'd be nice, but it won't be. It'll be every single race. But fireworks, great, fantastic. Next gen, that's a proper next gen title. Also, look at that. We've got the Mazda 787B or 76, but I don't know. You know, nice car. That's all that matters. And a 1960s. I know the car. I've forgotten it off the top of my head. Sorry. You guys can type in the comments that I don't know cars because I don't. I'm literally making this all up as we go along. But nice vehicles there. Looks like we've got a good mix of vehicles. Nice panning cam over the top there with dynamic light. And here we go. Into the pit box. Worth pointing out with this shot here is Simon up here. Bet you didn't notice Simon first time you watched this. I did. Good guy, Simon. But we've got the pit box here. Really nice details. This is kind of in the last Forza. All these little pit box objects. Really nice to have that. If you're driving into the pit, it's nice to feel like there's a lot of activity and stuff going on in the pit lane. So it's nice to see that in this as well. Also, hopefully, you know, you'll have all the animated pit crew and stuff. But again, this trailer doesn't really show off if you do proper manual pit stops. And to what extent? There's no real actual gameplay. It's just you know, this could be all cutscene. So this is just doing a nice shot again of the car interiors. This is nice. It does look really nice. They do make a point about all the ray tracing and everything. I think this video is more about graphical hype of the game. You know, which is fine. That sells games. But it's impressive to someone. If you knew absolutely nothing. Oh, here we go. Before we talk about this, if you knew absolutely nothing about a certain subject, everybody knows what reality looks like. So it's like the lowest common denominator of selling a video game product is you can go, oh, it looks like real life, and this is how close it looks to real life. So, you know, it's a lowest common denominator thing for people to go, well, that's impressive. Even though when you're actually playing the game, this could look 1,000th as good as it does, but have it could drive like the original Assetto Corsa AC1, which has got amazing physics. If you don't know, or Race Room or any of the PC sims, which are still generally miles better than any cross-platform racing sims. It could drive like that, look worse, but that would be better for gameplay, wouldn't it? But, you know, focus on the graphic. It makes money. It sells stuff. Here we go. Car drives into a wall here. So, this car careens out of control at what looks like 100 miles an hour, and they go on here about damage. I'm trying to be careful for copyright here, so let's see.
In Forza Motorsport, car damage is reproduced down to the individual scratches on the bodywork.
So, they go on about the car damage. They've literally just driven into a wall at high speed. This car presumably bits of it should have fallen off. What's happened here is it's deformed the mesh of the car a bit, you know, and look, maybe it has deformed the mesh depending on how it's been hit, and it also looks like they've got they've got textures there. The texture, the 2D texture on the vehicle changes depending on where it's got damage and stuff, which is great. That's fine. It's a functional aspect of damage. You can go, well, this car's been in a bit of damage. I understand why my car's driving badly. Or at the end of the race, oh wow, my car's a bit beaten up. But let's be honest, it's pretty bad, isn't it? I mean, come on, look at BeamNG, look at Wreckfest. That's incredible for damage. Look at all those games. And if you drove iRacing as well, if you drove into a wall at that speed with these cars, bits of the car, like the cars would fall apart. Come on, the bonnet would come off, or the bumper would come off. They're actually the race car bonnets and stuff are designed to crumple and come off and fall apart. So. Clearly, what happens with these games is that they're not really allowed to really damage and absolutely destroy them completely, because that makes it a lot harder for certain licenses. That's often the case. Also, it does mean that they then have to, like, the models get a lot more complicated to be able to accommodate all that. And then you have problems of how's the debris handled if you drive into the debris. Does that do damage to you? And then how does that work online? So it opens a whole kettle of fish, a whole bag of worms, a whole sack of kittens. I don't know. But you know what I mean? I think this damage looks pretty. It's fine. It's all right. It's probably functional. But it's not really next gen, is it? Like, if it, again, you've got games that are 5, 6, 7 plus years old that seemingly do damage a lot better than this. And as a track racer, that whole car smashing up and falling apart, like even the old F1 games going back decades, like F1 2002 or whatever, the front parts of the car fell off, wheels fell off, and that's really fun. That's an awesome thing to have happen, wheels falling off cars. So actually, this is pretty terrible, really, for what it could be. I know why they might have done this, that's fine, but don't shout about the damage and pretend that no one's going to notice that it's worse than a whole bunch of other titles when this is supposed to be like the ultimate track racer. Just be honest. Just go, yeah, we can't really do that kind of damage because the licensing won't let us. I guess that's too honest, isn't it? You can't be that honest. We need to cover it all with marketing butter and hope nobody notices. Oh dear. Right, this video is getting very long. Apologies for the length of this video. But I hope you're enjoying it, guys. Click that like button and subscribe if you are, and cry yourself to sleep if you do actually subscribe to the channel. And if you're really, really generous, there's that thing where you can click and it gives money and puts your comment highlighted. And then next video, I will read your comment. Yes. YouTube's now pay to win. Right, continuing on.
You can see here some of the new in the directionality of damage.
Directionality of damage, okay. But the wheels are still on the car. He's driven into another car. He's driven into the wall. I'm sorry about cutting them out. I know it's very rude cutting the guy off, but you can watch this yourselves. I just don't want to get copyrighted. Nice vehicles passing. That looks nice.
Consoles. Ray tracing makes everything feel more connected.
Right. Ray tracing makes everything feel more connected. What on earth does that mean? I guess, reflections mean that there's this stuff being reflected. But I tell you what, if I'm driving quickly and I'm focused on racing, even from a chase cam view, like playing the old Burnout games. I'm old. Burnout games were amazing. I know this isn't trying to be Burnout. I was never playing those games going, oh wow, I wish the reflections were better. I was like, man, the handling physics are so fun in this. Oh, that crash looked awesome. Oh, I really want to do better at this event so I can unlock the next location. Oh, that was really snappy and responsive. And oh, this soundtrack's great with this. I wasn't going, oh, the reflections look good. Like reflections, even if they're like fake reflections, they can look nice in a bonnet. I think on Formula cars, especially when you're in the cockpit again, they can look good. I get, if you're using chase cam, I'm not saying reflections are bad, but you can fake reflections in a way that are fully functional, look great. And real-time reflections from ray tracing are nice, don't get me wrong, but it's not... It's like, oh, we have to, because it's like a feature that it's a new modern feature, and I think ray tracing will be the future for a lot of stuff. It's a great way to go, but it's like faux excitement. It's like trying to drum up to be excited for it. It's like if it's genuinely good, people will just go, wow, that's really cool, that stands out. And I don't, with all this ray tracing, for the most part, I think it's great for certain types of lighting, global illumination, and a whole bunch of stuff on the development side. But from the player's perspective, it's like, wow, great. But I don't know how it makes you feel more connected, because this driver can totally see this reflection in his car. I mean, he'll be seeing his car in the reflection of the... No, he won't be able to see it because that car's got a matte red paint job, so he won't see the reflection. Only if your car's super... Anyway, continue on.
Cars reflecting onto other cars.
Cars reflected onto other cars.
Their own mirrors.
Like a mirror. Yeah. It can be good. It could be good in the cockpit. You'll see your car dash reflecting off the windscreen, and it's not a bad thing. I know I'm complaining. I just don't think it's... Hang on a minute. They didn't draw attention to this wicker fence. That is a nice... Look at that. That is a nice wicker fence. It's a bit dangerous, though. You probably want some catchment fencing then. Not some loose lumber. I mean, you crash, you go end up with a tree through your face. Not safe, but reckless racetrack design here. This track was probably built for 1960s racing.
Accuracy of overhauled physics.
Oh, hang on, physics again. What does he say?
Accuracy of our overhauled physics. Real.
Right. Here we go. Get ready.
That the accuracy of our overhauled physics, the beauty of our cars and tracks, our new dynamic time of day.
Oh yeah, so basically the accuracy of overall physics, beauty of our cars and track, overhaul time of day, blah blah blah, that makes it the most realistic, bestest driving game ever made ever. We've not released it yet. It's totally not going to release with any bugs. It's going to be perfect. Don't worry. Make sure to pre-order. Get your Xbox Game Pass, only £1, and you can also play Microsoft Flight Sim. What a bargain! We totally won't change the price in the future. It's all going to be good value for money. Don't worry about it. Bye. We're not going to talk about DLC. We will do DLC. Buy the premium version or Game Pass, and then buy the DLC. Spend all your money. Hang on, look at that fog though. Look at that. That's really nice. Look at those wispy clouds and the fog off the water. That is nice. That's pretty, isn't it? That's very pretty. They've done it. Whoever's done this graphics engine, fantastic job. And I think also the Forza Horizon games, which I imagine these are similar graphics engine. Maybe they don't, but really good job there. It really looks nice. So yeah, coming spring, the bounciest of seasons, 2023. I'm excited for it, guys. Before we finish this, Jesus, this video is way too long. I'm sorry, guys. Either you guys will really enjoy this video, or this will be the worst received video in the history of this channel. I don't know. It's YouTube. You never know what's going to happen. What worries me, should do this as a separate video, but I'm doing it in this video. What worries me is that they didn't mention, maybe they'll do it in a future video, but they didn't mention ranked matchmaking. And that is what you need. That, like, forget all the graphic. Like, you need okay-ish handling cars. The GT Sport was fine, but anything okay-ish handling. Doesn't have to be amazing, just consistent handling without crazy bugs. and nothing too cheesy. It can be a little bit cheesy, but some kind of online ranked system that puts you in splits and events like how GT Sport worked. That would be fine with passable netcode like GT Sport. Doesn't even have to be anywhere near as good as Race Room, AC, iRacing or anything like that. Just splits, matchmaking, rotate those every week. Have some kind of safety system in there as well to reward people that don't crash into people, especially for a track racer. You don't need that for the Horizon games, but for this, do that. I will be really happy, and that would be Forza. That would be Gran Turismo killing. That would be like, oh, I think I'll get an Xbox instead of a PlayStation because Gran Turismo dropped the ball. Polyphony dropped the ball a little bit with Gran Turismo. You know, there's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of. I mean, the PlayStation 5 is a great console, so I'm not going to go to the PS5. I do have one myself, but this could be. You know, they've got the PC user base. They've got the XS and the Xbox X Cube. The Xbox One S, the Xbox, let's make up letters after them. This could be an amazing, you know, the next generation of racing games. Forza used to be like the title, the game on console. You'd be like, oh, that's, you know, like how PGR used to be before Bizarre Creations got closed down for the Forza titles. I miss those games. But, you know, it was like, that was the game. That was one of them. It was like the Sonic Hedgehog for Xboxes. Anyway, that's what this could be. It needs ranked multiplayer, though. Will they do it? I don't know. But there you go. That is a in-depth, jaded SimRacer, pessimistic view of this. I'm definitely going to get it. I'm excited to play it. I hope it's good. I really hope it improves on what was wrong with the previous Forza Motorsport. That would be good, but I really want that online matchmaking because I think that's needed for track racing to be compelling. There you go. If you enjoyed this, guys, first of all, make yourself a cup of tea, click the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to learn how to make shorter videos, and let me know in the comments where you are with this, or don't. I mean, YouTubers always say, "Oh, write in the comments, write a comment," because they just want they want that engagement. You can, because you'll argue. Some console person that's a miserable teenager with too much time will start an argument, and then someone will argue with them, and I just get views from that every time people reload it to argue. So it's great for the YouTuber, but it's bad for you guys. Comments are terrible, but you can leave a comment, and I'll try and answer them in future stuff. We also live stream on YouTube and on Twitch, so you can go and follow us on that if you want to as well. But yeah, thanks, take care, have a good one, goodbye.